is 4 o'clock. Is it Tuesday? No, it's Wednesday. This whole Labor Day is messing me up. All right. Well, thanks for coming. I was thinking that I'm going to have 5 people in this room because this is a digital conference, yet I'm talking about analytics and KPI, so that means you really, really want to be here. Thank you very much for coming. So for today, we're going to be talking about how to measure your campaign effectiveness like the panda, which is the boss. Okay. I do have to put this disclaimer up. National Geographic is part of Disney, so there you go. Everybody got it? Great. All right, so why are we here today? We're here today because without data, you really can't do marketing effectively. I'm going to tell you a bit of my personal journey getting into analytics. My background is not in data science. I remember I took statistics. I definitely took a lot of math classes, both in high school, and I think I skipped that in college because I did AP. That's fine. But the way I get into analytics is that I was doing a digital marketing campaign, and I was not part of the analytics team at that time. But I knew that I needed to get my numbers quickly because at that time, I was spending money on marketing, and in order for me to get my marketing campaigns done right, so profitability, cost per acquisition, all that good stuff, I need to get the data right away. Unfortunately, back then, with the team, not at National Geographic, at a different company, it took probably at least 2 weeks to get the data. So by the time I got information about my marketing campaigns, it was too late. I already spent X dollars, on my marketing campaign, and oh, it's tanking, or oh, it's doing really, really well. I should have done more to optimize it. So I basically had to, learn a little bit more about digital analytics tool. They teach me, they had a training for me in terms of the digital analytics tool, and I learned a lot, not just about my marketing campaign, but also about the website. So I was sitting in a meeting with a lot of people, and also with the GM, or the general manager of the product, and I was pretty junior at that time, and they were talking about some challenges for the website, and I decided, I was like, well, you know what? I'm just going to speak up because I know what's going on with the conversion issues. So raised my hand. First, I think they were like, who are you? I was like, whatever, I'm just going to speak up. And then I told them, well, I think it's because of this XYZ, because of the data that I'm seeing in this tool. So then what ended up happening is that the GM then invited me to have a meeting with him, and then also the head of the analytics group, to go and explain to him about what's going on with the website based on the data that I'm seeing. So from then on, I realized how powerful data is. It's not just for marketing, but it's really for making strategic decisions about the business. So anyway, that's just a really quick introduction about how I got here for analytics. So right now, I'm VP of Analytics at National Geographic Partners. I do have a side hustle as an adjunct professor at Georgetown University, and I teach digital analytics and measurement class for graduate level students in integrated marketing communications and corporate communications. Okay, so we are here today to talk about data and how important it is, and I think I'm probably preaching to the choir because you're all here, so we're just gonna get going. The first rule for today is I want this to be interactive. I know this is going to be a little bit hard because this is a big room and I'm looking around. So lucky you guys who are sitting in the middle. I'm going to be picking on you. And we do want to make this interactive because we will have a pop quiz. So, you get ready? Yes? All right. So the first question. You don't need to raise your hands. This is not a classroom. Shout whatever answer you've got. Name as many metrics as you can for marketing and digital analytics. Revenue, impression, profit, time on site, click-through rate. Courtney, hey, I know you. Hi. Courtney's from National Geographic. Sorry? Cost per click, cost per lead, unique visitors, ROI, bounce rate. That section is not speaking. Okay, I can't hear you anymore. That's all right. Do you really use all of them? Do you know what they really mean? I hope you do. You did shout it out. Well, the thing is, did you know that there are more than 400 metrics available in Google Analytics? I've been using Google Analytics and Adobe Analytics for a long time, for years and years, and I promise you, I have never used all 400 metrics in the analytics tool. And the reason for that is not every single metric is relevant to what I need for my marketing campaign or for my business. Let me show you something scary. So this is probably the worst presentation slide you'll ever see. I hope your analytics team doesn't do that. If my analytics team does this, yeah, that's not a good sign. So definitely no, because you don't need all of those metrics in order to make your business decision, right? So in turn, let's talk about KPI. What is a KPI and why do we care about KPIs? Key performance indicator, great, so that's what KPI is, but what is really KPI? Say that again? Data points, relevance. Yes, who said that? Relevance to the business. Thank you. Oh, I wish I had a gift. Yes, definitely. KPI, key performance indicator. And what's so special about KPI is basically just a metric, right? And a metric is just a number. A number could be revenue, it could be ROI, it could be click-through rate, it could be whatever, open rate. But what makes KPI so special is that it's relevant to your business. So, this is looking at the list of metrics. These are not metrics, obviously. These are animals, but tons of options there. But what I like to do is always go back and reminding myself of a car dashboard. Not because I'm a car enthusiast, but because when you're driving a car, there's so many things going on, right? But when you're driving a car, what are the 2 or 3 things that you really pay attention to? Gas? Speed? Sorry, what? Wait, what? I'm going to stick with gas and speed. Okay. Service alert, excellent, very safe, very good. All right, so I'm going to stick with speed and gas for simplicity purposes for this presentation. So a lot of things are going on when you're driving a car, but those are the 2 things that you really want to pay attention to, right? It's the same thing with KPIs. There's so many things going on. You can get all kinds of metrics from Google Analytics, from Adobe Analytics, whatever tools that you have, or even from your analytics team. But the thing is, you really need to focus on the metrics that matter, and those are the KPIs. So here are 5 easy, these are not really easy, but just a quick framework. So really, everything goes back to your business objectives. Really easy, if you're a for-profit, obviously that's typically your profitability, your revenue, right? Based on those business objectives, what are your campaign objectives? So if you're running a social media campaign, and your business objective is, let's say, getting profitability or revenue, obviously, what is it that you're doing with your social media campaign in order to boost the revenue? If you're running an email marketing campaign, so the speaker before me was talking about email, so what is it about your email campaign that can then generate revenue to your business? So based on your campaign objectives, how do you define success, right? So this is like a really easy framework. So let's say, again, for a paid search campaign, you probably want to make sure that you are running a profitable paid search campaign, looking at CPA, looking at your return on investment. So that's how you define the success. And really how you define the success is your KPI. It sounds really easy when you're looking at it this way. It is. In real life, not really. I've had meetings after meetings just talking about KPIs. So again, it's not something that is as easy as you can just exercise and look in this framework, but this should really help. What I like to do as well, in addition to the KPIs, and typically we'd like to assign maybe 1 to 2, maybe 3 KPIs for each campaign, is the supporting metrics. What are some of the other things that you need in order to help boost that KPI? And I stopped going to meetings and asking people about the metrics that they want to measure, because typically they'll yell out things just like you did earlier before, and they want me to measure, they want our team to measure about 100 different metrics. Do they matter? Not all of them. So let's continue with our pop quiz. So this is actually a multi-part question. What is the right KPI? All right, let's take a look at this first example. This is a landing page for our magazine subscriptions. So you've got the beautiful National Geographic magazine. If you're a history buff, you can subscribe to the history magazine. If you have children or maybe nieces or nephews, then you can get Kids and Little Kids magazine. So in this case, our objective is selling magazines. So let's say the campaign objective is generating conversions, in this case magazine subscriptions, and revenue from that landing page. And you're managing this landing page. All right, show of hand, KPI option number 1, CTR, click-through rate. Don't be afraid. All right, number 2, conversion rate. Okay, I think I see a few. It's kind of hard to see you guys, it's a little bit dark. And then finally, the revenue per visit. Great, and for those of you who did not raise your hand, it's okay. Well, not really, but it's all right. So in this case, it's revenue per visit, right? So the click-through and the conversion rate are really your supporting metric, because at the end of the day, you want to know how effective that landing page is. And again, going back to the campaign objective of generating magazine subscriptions and revenue. So that's the right KPI for this particular campaign. The second example, this is a paid search campaign for our online shop, and I just happened to be searching for National Geographic maps, so you can see the paid search portion here for National Geographic world maps on shop.nationalgeographic.com. So let's pretend you're the paid search manager for this online shop. What would be the right KPI for this based on the campaign objective of generating a profitable paid search campaign for the online store? Show of hand, CTR. I think I see 1 or 2, 3, 4. Great. Option 2, return on ad sales. All right. And option 3, cost per acquisition. All right. So in this case, it's return on ad sales, or ROAS. So CPA is another common metric that people use for paid search. Nothing wrong with it, but then again, it just depends on what you're selling, right? So if you're selling, if your online retailer or your website is selling multiple types of products and they have so many different price points, your CPA is going to vary based on how much product or how much your AOV is, how much your average order value is. So really return on ad investment or ad spend, is really the right way to look at paid search profitability. Okay, so this is a screenshot of some of our beautiful editorial emails from National Geographic. You've got animals, you've got travel, and you've also got science and environment. So let's say you are one of the marketing people in an email team, and your campaign objective is to generate traffic to the website, maximizing engagement with content. Again, keeping in mind, those were all editorial emails. So KPI option 1, open rate. KPI option 2, CTR. And KPI option 3, page views per visit. Awesome. All right, see, this is a fun game, yeah? All right, so with the campaign objective of generating traffic to the website and maximizing engagement with the content, you do want to look at the page views per visit. Again, open rate and click-through rate are all important, but then you also want to make sure that you're looking at your campaign objective and going back to that for your KPI. Okay, let's talk about social a little bit. This is an Instagram post, and this was a paid partnership with Brita USA. If you're not familiar with our initiative called Planet of Plastic, National Geographic is working on an initiative called Planet of Plastic, and really the purpose of it is to reduce single use of plastics in the ocean, and we are hoping to get a pledge of 1 billion pieces of plastics removed from the ocean. So in this case, for this Instagram post, it's a post about this plastic bottle, and then they're talking about how it's impacting the environment. So let's say you're managing this campaign, and the campaign objective is generating the interest for the partner's brand, so in this case, Brita, and the initiative on Instagram. So your KPI options, click-through rate, okay, impressions, or emotional engagements. Great. So you've got your emotional engagements, and KPI option 1 is actually a trick because there are no links in Instagram. With impressions, it's still a supporting metric because you do want to see if you are reaching more people with the Instagram posts, and the more you reach people about the initiative, of course, the better it is. However, it's even better if you can engage with them. With Instagram, obviously, it's really easy to like a photo, right? But then what's more involved in terms of engagement is really the comments. And taking a step further, we also look at the emotional engagements. So emotional engagements, let me give you 2 more examples. So you've got a post on this beautiful elephant, and then you also have a post of this monkey, and the elephant is a picture, is taken at a sunset. It's beautiful. People are commenting positively on it. With the other one, it's about this animal, and it's part of our wildlife tourism content on National Geographic magazine, and it's exposing the poor treatment of animals in several different tourist attractions. So obviously, the elephant post is going to give you a lot more positive sentiments versus the wildlife tourism post, which is going to give you a lot of negative sentiments. And with the negative sentiments, we do have tools to separate it out. We do have tools to see, is it about sadness? Is it that people are mad about it? People are sad about it? So typically we'll see something like this, such as, obviously the enjoy and love was not part of the wildlife tourism. This is part of a different post. But then we can see the different emotions that people are saying or commenting on either Instagram or Facebook or even Twitter. And the thing with negative emotions is that you have to make sure that you put it into context. We do have tools to see the frequency. We do have tools to look at the sentiments. But we still have a human actually looking at the comments to understand the context of it. Because when you're getting negative emotions, it's not enough to just say, oh, 10% of our posts are negative versus 30% of our posts are negative. Because you need to understand if the negative sentiments are towards you as a brand or a company. Is it towards your product? Is it towards your employee? Or is it towards other followers? And again, it is the internet, so you are going to have trolls. And what is it about? Is it about you, again, the brand, the company, or the product? Or is it about the post itself? Or in our case with wildlife tourism, it's really about the topic. So people were upset about the situation. They were upset at the other people who made that happen. So again, that negative sentiment is considered negative, but not negative towards the brand. One more quick example. So this is again part of a Planet Plastic initiative. This was a Facebook post, and it's really sad. It's about how a seal pup died with a plastic wrapper in its stomach. And as you can see in terms of the comments that we're getting, it's not just emojis. I know with Instagram, it's just easy to post post emojis on your Instagram comments. But in this case, with Facebook, we do see a lot more emotional comments because, again, that's a little bit different than what we see on Instagram. Again, super important to understand the context when you're looking at the comments for social. Okay, and then one more thing on comments, again on Planet Plastic, I wanted to show you this picture first. So this picture was on the cover of National Geographic magazine for the Planet Plastic initiative, and it is also everywhere we have the Planet Plastic initiative. And being an analytics presentation, there's a chart. So in this chart, this is looking at the keywords or words that are most frequently used in the comments in social. So again, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and number one is plastics, no surprise. Bags, number two, not a surprise because the cover and the picture is featuring a plastic bag. But the third one is about a straw. So how would we use this information? So we could use this information to create new content, right? So then the travel team actually found an opportunity to write content about how the different hospitality companies, how the different travel companies are now using hay straws or paper straws or biodegradable straws instead of just the regular plastic straws in order to help reducing the single-use plastics. And one more thing too, to look out for this chart, I think it's clear on your screen. It's actually, there's a gray bar and then the blue bar. So the gray bar is just a total number of comments, but the blue bar is what we really pay attention to, which is really the emotional comments that we're seeing in our post. And just switching gear a little bit on Instagram stories. I'm not sure how many of you do use Instagram stories to promote your business or your product. So this is interesting. Being a content company, we have the advantage of having tons of content available that we can distribute on multiple platforms, including Instagram stories. So in this case, this one actually has 9 chapters. I only have room for 3 chapters in this screenshot. But some of the metrics that we look at for Instagram stories would be things such as the swipe up is one, right? So the last screenshot here is we are encouraging you to swipe up so you can learn more about the National Geographic magazine because the end goal of this campaign is really about the magazine subscriptions. So our team looks at, okay, how many chapters, what is the right number of chapters of a particular story? How do we get people moving from one chapter to another? How do we get them to just stay and look at our content? How do we get them to swipe up? Is it better to have the swipe up information at the end, so in the last chapter, or is it better in the beginning, or is it multiple? So again, really depends on the content and the objectives that we have, but those are some of the metrics that you could be looking at in regards to Instagram stories. All right, we're not done with our quiz yet. Number 4, how do we track our campaigns? So let's say you have a campaign that you're driving traffic to the website. What do you do? Thank you. I swear I did not ask her to sit up front and ask me the question about UTM codes because I will get to that in a few slides. One of the things that I want to mention is that with the customer touch points first, right? So with National Geographic, we've got the magazines, we've got the channel, we've got the website, we've got social. We have other products as well, such as our National Geographic expeditions. So people are coming and looking at the different products that we have, and they're coming from multiple different channels. So your typical traffic sources, your SEO, your paid search, your social, your referral. I think the worst traffic source that an analytics team can see is direct, because you look at it, you're like, oh, I don't know what that is. So if you're not familiar with UTM code, so a few things first. So this is just a quick screenshot of Google Analytics. And here you can see the various channel grouping that you can get, right? Organic search, social, direct. That should be out of the box, so you don't really have to do much in terms of getting that information. However, if you notice, if you go to any of National Geographic posts on Facebook and you click on the link, you're going to see that every single one has a unique campaign tracking. So we don't use this tool anymore. We use a different tool, so you might not see the UTM tracking, but the story is the same. Basically, any click that you have, it's going to be tracking each post individually. So we can tell that it's a post about animal, and it was posted on September 3rd. Or it's a post about environment, and specifically about hurricane, and it was posted on September 1st. Things along that line. So you can see here that for Facebook specifically, we have a very specific template on how every single post should be tracked. So again, you can see the date, you can see the content type, and you can also see the title or the actual content of the post. So UTM tracking, thank you. If you're not familiar with UTM tracking, you definitely need to be more familiar with it, and it's basically a way for you to make sure that every single thing is tracked properly, and not only that, you also need to build a template, because if you have multiple teams working on it or multiple people working on it, we found out the hard way. Somebody had Facebook with the capital F, someone else had Facebook with the lowercase f, someone else put FB, so then now you have 3 different lines in Google Analytics saying Facebook capital F, Facebook lowercase f, and then FB, and then you basically, it's just, it's not as clean and it's not as easy to pull the information. So before you go crazy with this, which I do suggest you do go crazy with this, but before you do, make sure you get together with the other people who do need to have the campaign tracking so that you have a template and governance in place. All right, 5th question, what's in a measurement plan? Or what is a measurement plan? Does anybody know what a measurement plan is? No? Okay, I'll tell you. So the first thing with measurement plan is you got to make sure that it's fitting the objective, right? Your KPIs really need to meet the objective. So what's in it? One, again, always start with the objectives. What are your campaign objectives? Because the next things you want to show in your measurement plan is what is your KPI? What is the goal for your KPI? And after that, you want to talk about the supporting metrics we've seen before in the framework. And also, it's helpful to give people a preview of what deep dive analysis you're going to be doing. It's one thing to track the KPIs and how they're tracking to goal, but with the deep dive analysis, you should be able to provide more information and more details about why certain things happen. What makes a campaign spike, what makes a campaign not profitable, different things like that. And then finally also is the timeline for reporting and analysis. Depending on the culture of the company, typically you launch a campaign and usually the first day, like, how's it going? Like, it's only been 2 hours. I don't know. So again, it's helpful to set that expectation up front, so then your stakeholders, whoever they are, your CMO, your VP of marketing, your CEO, they have a good understanding of when things are going to be coming in for reporting and analysis. So one last question, this is your extra credit. With all of these metrics, the most important question is, how can we make our data actionable? Any takers? It's like 4:30, you guys are like, I'm need some coffee. All good. All right. So in terms of making your data actionable, again, you guys are going to be so sick of me saying this, support your business objectives. Everything has to point back to that. Definitely make it easy to understand. Sometimes people get so creative with the KPI, or they get so creative with the metric, that it just confuses everyone else. Don't do that. Just keep it simple. Make it easy for people to understand. And also make it accessible. Is it available on a dashboard, or is it something that somebody actually has to pull and then send in an email on a daily basis, or worse, on a monthly basis? So definitely making it accessible is going to make it easy for people to buy into your data. And then also having a sense of urgency in your goal. It's one thing to be a nonprofit and say, we want to reduce the single-use plastics by 2020, versus actually having, running a marketing campaign, and you need to reach your quarterly goals. And then finally, always show progress or results. Even like little progress and little results, obviously don't lie about the data and make it transparent. If it's not going well, okay, so what? Yeah, it's not going well, so then what are we going to do about it? But if you do have some wins, definitely celebrate that and definitely talk more about it, because then you show that, hey, by using the data, we are able to make an impact to the business. We are able to make changes to our marketing campaigns. All right, I've got 5 minutes left, I think, yep. And I want to make sure that I have enough time for questions. So those are actually all of the slides that I have today. So I feel like you're feeling like you're the boss now? No? Yeah, you're totally the boss, yes. If you have any questions, I am available, or you know what, we have a few minutes. I'm happy to take any questions on stage. You can also, feel free to connect with me via LinkedIn. You can just search for me, or you can just take a picture of my LinkedIn profile. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody. One more time for me. Let her hear you. Come on.
I think we're going to take questions now. Is that cool? All right. Sorry, go ahead. You're good. I may have to repeat your question so others can, or just say it really loudly.
So how do you organize your UTM codes? Is there like a tool you use? Because we have the same issue where somebody says Facebook spelled a different way, and like I'm just going through the data like, oh my god, what happened? We're using Excel right now. It's not the best option. Do you have any
I'm sorry to say, but we use Excel. Um, but the thing is with Excel, you can also make it so that you can create it like a form. So then all you have to do is just create the template, and then you can do drop down, and then one of the cells, and basically just pre-populate with the information that you have. Yeah. Sorry, that wasn't as exciting. Yes.
So there's conversation about some of the platforms hiding likes in the future, and with that being a KPI for some of us, are you considering? How will you consider a KPI in place of that if that's not going to be a measurable application? I guess.
So if I have my information correct, I think you should still be able to see the like numbers, but it won't be available publicly. However, in terms of engagements, we do use likes, but not as much as, let's say, shares or comments, because it's so easy to just do a like or a reaction versus actually sharing or commenting.
So more focus on the emotional engagement stuff that you were mentioning before. Okay, thank you.
Yep, sure. Go ahead.
So on the B2C side, you've shown some examples of selling the magazines and memberships and whatnot. What about, how does the metrics tracking differ for you guys on the business side, where you're selling, you have campaigns for licensing or other things that you're selling to businesses that may have a longer sales cycle? How does that impact your metrics?
Sure. So in terms of B2B, I'm not sure which business you're in, but a lot of the times with B2B, you do want to have a lot of lead generation, right? So you want to get the email address, it's always like name, company, how many people you have, how much revenue you have, all that good stuff, email address, phone number. So that would be a way to look at your metric, is really the lead generation, because then it will later on hopefully lead to a sale. The second part of that is also the marketing attribution. So we do run a marketing attribution for our products or our businesses, and one of them is for our trip business. And I don't know how much it takes for you guys to planification. So with these trips, I think an average price is probably around $4,000 or $5,000 a person. And if you go with like a family of four, that's a lot of money. So people typically spend months, doing the research and getting a little bit more information about the trips before actually committing and booking. So that's where marketing attribution is really helpful. Again, if you do use the UTM tracking or Adobe Analytics campaign tracking, you should be able to see the attribution in both tools. You can actually play around with different types of marketing attribution, whether it's like the first touch or the last touch. So I would definitely suggest using that. I'm gonna go this way because sorry, I love you guys, but I love this side too. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. So my question is about reporting and kind of the story you come back to with, mainline KPIs and supporting KPIs. Trying to convince, I guess, upper management, like which KPIs are important when they want them all. What kind of process would you recommend for like an analyst to try to, convince, say, senior leadership who might not be as analytical, but these are the ones you need to focus on. Here are the supporting ones in terms of like reporting or streamlining those results.
Okay, yeah, I feel you. Definitely a challenge. I think a lot of the times with not just the executives or stakeholders, but also others in the organization, it's really more about the education about what really matters. It's what typically we do is we talk to the business owners about the objectives, and then we come up with a framework and then discuss it. So you do need to get their buy-in ahead of time before you start measuring 100 different things. And it may take months, it may take years, but you'll get there. I think somebody. Sure. Somebody behind you had a question? Yes.
There was a slide on there where you had the top words and comments of straws and plastic. What tool did you use to get that information?
So I think for that tool, for that particular example, we were using a tool called Canvas, CANVS. Yep. And there a question over here?
Yeah, I did have a question. So regarding analytics, we have several different reports, for example, that are pulled from our IT development team, and then we have Google Analytics. And if we want to track, okay, we're getting leads from these sources on the top of the funnel, but then trying to figure out, well, how many actually close, right? How do we bridge that gap between like Google Analytics and then all these customized reports that like the IT team has, so that we can show the end result of how many people like close on a home, for example?
Yeah. Definitely a big challenge, and it sounds like that's more a B2B business, is that right?
No, B2C.
It's a B2C? Okay. So if there's a way for you to get people to sign into your website, you can actually then get their sign-in ID. You cannot send PII to Google Analytics, so just definitely keep that in mind. That would be against our terms of service. But there are definitely ways that you can, we call it hash the ID, so then you can tie it outside of Google Analytics. So then you can say, oh, it's Mia Valo. Obviously, in Google Analytics, you can't see my name. You just see some random number, 12345. But then that 12345 number is actually in your customer database. So then you can see that, oh, Mia Valo, whatever, 12345, visited via SEO in January, and then we closed the sale in July. Yeah. So I think I am out of time. I got the red 0 right here, and this guy's coming to take me off the stage. But I am available for questions. I'll just be in the back, and feel free to say hi. Thanks, guys.